Sometimes I think I can relate to the kind of frustration that Mr. Barber must go through all the time, because it seems like it's so easy for people to hear something and say, yeah, that's right, I can buy that. It sounds pretty reasonable. And it seems like you can talk to people even can get excited about it. And they'll say, yeah, that's right. That sounds like a really hot idea. And then they leave the church and all of a sudden it's gone. Just like a vapor, it's just not there anymore. And like some of you guys, I don't know how many times, I've talked to you and stuff. Some of you I've prayed with, and a lot of us have gotten pretty close, I guess. Especially you kids and me, because I'm not very good at talking to adults, because they know too much, and they know that I'm bluffing sometimes. But sometimes, as a Christian, it gets very rough when you see no tangible evidence of growth in the church. It's very rough sometimes when, not just for ministers and youth directors and people like that, but even for us as the body, as we ache together and we say, oh Lord, so much is wrong. So much of life is rotten. And it seems like the body of Christ is full of cancer. It seems like the body of Christ is covered with sores. And it seems like no matter what we do to grow internally and externally, nothing seems to happen. And I think maybe sometimes we're really stupid to expect anything to happen overnight. Maybe we should be more like commies and sneak in when nobody's expecting it and just kind of fill everybody without them even knowing it, and all of a sudden somebody wakes up and he says, wait a minute, maybe there is a God. Maybe Christ is the Son of God. And then sometimes I think, well, without a conscious decision, there wouldn't be any conversion there, and so I don't know what that would be worth. But I'm not going to hold you any later than I already have. But I do want you to think about what I'm going to say here and what I'm going to say in the last song I do. The body just cannot grow any more than we as individual cells in that body allow it to. And the only thing I know of that's any scarier than growing is being in love. And being in love is just too frightening for me to handle. And growing is almost that way. Because when you begin to allow yourself to grow, then all of a sudden you have to see all kinds of nasty things about yourself. And all of a sudden you have to face the fact that you're not everything that you want to be. And all our lives we're taught that if you're not everything you can be, then you can't accept yourself. And all of a sudden to have to say, I'm not what Christ wants me to be, but I can take myself and make myself be that with a little bit of divine intervention. And to accept ourselves, accept our faults, takes almost more guts than to accept God's grace. And to allow His love to shine into our lives and to really begin to do the curing that needs to be done. That takes lots of guts. And some of you guys really kind of tears me up when we can talk about so many neat Christian things, but when we get around to talking about where you're at with Christ, what does Christ mean to you, is all of a sudden it's like you're in another world, and you click it off, and you're laughing. And I'm sure, like a lot of you adults, are the same way. God is all right as long as He's just a subject, just a conversation piece that we can keep on our little tables in our living rooms. But when He becomes big and omnipresent and frightening, we don't want to have anything to do with Him. But I think if there were 3 things that I could tell any kid my age, it would be, first of all, cry. Because if you're going to cry, it takes more courage than I've got. Second of all, I would say, fall down dead. Just completely forget your own desires. Completely forget the things that you so want. And the third thing I'd say would be resurrect. Only when you do that, do it in the power of the Lord and not on your own. And that's about, I guess, all I would say to a person my age.